I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
We're watching Oshi No Ko again, episode 4. I'm so excited. We're 2 episodes behind, which sucks. We've been busy. But I am so happy to be back because we're about to watch Aqua go all out on screen.
He's about to go out with a bang.
Go out with a bang. I'm really enjoying the show so far. I don't think that's a secret to anybody. And I also say that a lot. But we watch a lot of good shows on the channel.
We do watch a lot of good shows.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
What do you think is going to happen?
All I know and all that I want in my heart at the moment is just to actually get to see his acting performance. I want to actually see it and not just them skip past it with everyone like raving about it.
Yeah.
I want to actually see his acting here. And I want to see Kana reacting to it.
I want to know what Aqua's interpretation of going out with a bang is in reference to his own acting capabilities and what he thinks is like a safe play versus like oh really, yeah, acting. Yeah.
Taking over the screen, basically. Not trying to make all these model actors look good, but really like stealing the show.
And I want to see the director's reaction to his performance too. All right. I'm good. You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Sweet. All right, we're back. Oh, I'm so excited.
I know. This is actually perfect weather for like a creepy stalker scene.
True. Whoa.
Was that a 1-star?
Yeah. First 4 episodes, it's like so meta.
And we know Aqua has the
read
manga
it, yeah.
in his room. Spiraling.
Come on, Aqua. I have chills already.
I know. He's walking in the puddles.
All the tools at my disposal.
He's already mapped them all out.
Oh! He's bringing out the best in him. Oh! Oh my god.
He knows because he's read it.
The mangaka must like feel so heard right now.
He loves thinking about the author's feelings.
He was immersed in the scene.
ぱ演技は感情乗ってなんぼだよな。おかげで有馬も本気出せたんじゃないか。
あの若い子めちゃくちゃしてくれちゃって。
いいシーンになりそうで、かなちゃんも嬉しいだろうね。かなちゃん、最後のシーンもういける？かなちゃん？
The face of a maiden who's fallen in love with the protagonist.
Oh my!
Art
That was
is
so
real
much
life.
better than I could have ever imagined, and how it mirrored the actual like death of Ai too in a similar way.
終わりそうになったら声かけてください。見てるんですね。二人は見てないの？最初だけちょっとリタイアしてるね。無理に見なくていいんじゃがら書いた作品をあんな適当にバカにしたようなドラ
I'm
マ。
so excited to see
I
your
can't wait to see
reaction.
her.
悔しくて見れないですよ。伸びが期待できない漫画のメディア化。何かしら動き。メディア化経験のある漫画家はみんな言うよ。絶対するなって。どの漫画家も最初はああだったってそういうものなんだけど。それでも光はあるから。私はドラマ化受けてよかったって思えた。
Oh,
視聴者の多くはすでにリタイアし、視聴を続けていたコンテンツ、京アマの最終回になることもなく、狭い界隈でひっそりと見ると、改めて多くの人が関わってるんだって思うな。
演技には多くの人の仕事がのキャンダルなんてもってのほか。ちなみにあんた彼女とかいないから
スキャンダルもくそ。
Oh.
そうでした。お、先生。支えられていたと思います。ありがとうございました。
Oh.
もっと早くあの感じが出てたらとは思いますが。
いやいや、アクア君、最終回評判だったよ。
この P のタバコの吸い殻を検査にんだということが分かって、ある意味安心はした。
So now you can just hate him for other reasons.
いちごプロの子だっけ？アイ君と似た顔つきしてるよね。間近でよく見ていたからね、間違いないや。
どういう関係だったんですか？
仲介で一緒に仕事してね。事務所に内緒で男の子と会う時とか教えてあげたり。
He's a connection to the guy.
知ってますか？
アイ君のファン、個人のゴシップにも興味がある。
あります。
そうだね。教えてあげてもいいけど、ここは交換条件といこう。似ていて美しい。恋愛リアリティショーに興味はある？
Yes. Kana would not like that.
Kana's gonna insert herself onto that.
She's gonna be a contestant. The scene.
Yeah.
入学おめでとうワクワ。あとルビー。と比べて授業日程は融通が利くけど、出席日数足りなかったら留年するし、カリキュラムもそんな違いはない。でもみんな芸能人。ここは日本で一番見られる側の歓迎するわよ、後輩。芸能界へよ。
God, the music in the show is so good.
I thought they were gonna walk away from her as she was talking.
美人、左見たらイケメン。中学校とママの遺伝子を受け継いでる私も顔では負けてないわけなるものか。すいません。うち片吹みなみ。
Nice to meet ya.
やらしゅ。あ、グラドルやってるんだ。目の前でいいエッチエッチじゃん。やめて。関西弁初めて。大阪の人？
Yeah, the accent.
生まれも育ちもかな。なんていう子。
It's just a vibe.
関西弁だった？
It's like that dude who played Elvis, Austin Butler.
友達作りにこの学校。
ここは養成所でも撮影所でもなくて普通の学校なんだから。いっちゃん。
あんま聞いたセリフなんだが。
She's stealing Kana's lines.
Yep.
入学式見た感じ、容姿の整ってるやつは多い。
いたの。すごい人。すみません。今日番宣で朝の生放送あって。知らないフリル。
知らないフリルだ。
知らないフリルがいたんだよ。このドラマで大ヒット。思い浮かべる知らないフリル。
The eyes.
Yeah.
当然知ってるけど、俺の最推しは今も昔も愛だけだし。
あそこに実物。あー、透明で。
こんにちは、白縫さん。 クラスなんだ。仲良くしてやってくれ。
ちょっとお兄ちゃん。京アマに出てた人？
よく知ってるな。
で話題になってて見た。
He kept coming up at one of her jobs.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
ありがとう。
ごめんなさい。何をしてる方ですか？今のところ特に。そう。頑張って。
Her eyes were like a cross of a snake and a cat.
Right?
I love them.
そうそう可愛い子なんて見つからないんだからね。バカでかくて可愛い子がいるんだけど。よその事務所の子でしょ。ダメ。事務所間の揉め事はごめんよ。
フリーならいるじゃん。なくて顔が可愛い子。
And she has a cute face.
I didn't expect Kana to be in the idol group. I just want to listen to it.
The beat and pacing of the visuals at the same time in the song
Yeah.
hits. Like how she's walking as it goes with it.
Oh, the editing's so good.
Yeah. How much do you want to bet someone like replayed this and timed it like perfectly over and over and over again as they were editing it?
Even like the lip sync there. Okay, that was Oshi No Ko episode 4. I know that I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but this is such a treat to watch, man. We watch a bunch of shows I enjoy. We've watched shows I assume we were correct in saying written by the same person even. But this just feels so different to me, and like I'm loving every second that I get from it. I'm so enamored by it. It's so great.
I love that you said that because it opens up something that was talked about in this episode, which is this idea of a mangaka or an author getting their work adapted into an anime or a live action and how they feel about it. And then if you like think about this, like, oh wait, yeah, this is a work itself that's been adapted into an anime.
Yep.
And we already know that this mangaka has had another work be adapted into an anime that I believe was pretty successful.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard people say that they liked it or good things about it. And this is also feeling very successful, especially because like it's hitting on these topics and I think it's doing them right. And it almost feels like when you think back to the scene of that like assistant director and his reaction to Aqua kind of making some creative choices, but thinking about the intention of the author and the mangaka.
Yeah.
It makes you think that the people that were in charge of making this anime were given probably some obviously creative license to make the visual 2D page work come to life.
Yeah.
And that there was trust there with the mangaka that they would be able to do it and make it like show up with a bang, as Aqua said.
It's so interesting. There's so many dynamics to it because it's like, okay, like obviously the author is flexing some meta muscles by like the approach to the writing in just like in a very broad sense on one hand with the whole like, oh, adaptions, playing with that thing. Because I thought we had a perfect example of how making an adaptation great doesn't necessarily come from somebody's idea of trying to copy the source material. It's like Aqua had that vision in his head and he was trying to like pull certain strings from where he could to orchestrate a certain scene and emotion to have it play out similar to the manga. But the director had no like idea that this was like, oh, he had no realization like, oh my god, this is just like it was from the manga. He just understood the beauty and appreciation for it in like an live action sense.
Yeah, like that the mic was picking up every single step in the puddles, and he was like, wait, this atmosphere that's being created, like let's wait on this. Like this is kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's like just because one thing is breathtaking and perfect in a manga, just if you translate it one for one onto a live action medium or anime, it's not necessarily going to hit the same. You have to be able to achieve that same level of quality in other areas of production, whether it's sound, like sound design with Aqua walking, but then, or like, you know, emotions bringing out within each other's actors. But what I think's really interesting is, like, it takes it a step further, because when you try to compare it to the adaptation that is this show from a manga, which I assume it's a manga, right? It just, everything about the production that I've seen so far is beautiful. The animation's great. The editing is fantastic. And above all else, the score is so amazing. And you don't have that in a manga. So it's interesting to have like that meta commentary while the show is doing that itself.
It just makes you think of even like live theater. All you're given, especially like if you're doing something like Shakespeare or something that was purely just like given to you in a written format. And every once in a while there's like a cue of bring in the bear or whatever.
Yeah.
But like building the scene and whatever is happening and the choices that the actors make and where they are on the stage and where the lighting's hitting them and like all of these little choices, you know, they really bring the work, the written word, to life. And in this case, the drawings that this mangaka spent so long and so much care in.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? Like, my favorite part of Aqua's I feel like I'm learning more and more and understanding more and more about Aqua as it goes on. And it could be just totally me being delusional, but I feel like I'm really appreciating what he's saying in regards to the difference between him and I now more than ever, because from his perspective, there are certain people like I who have this innate ability in themselves to perform, right? And to be, and aren't too analytical about it. A lot of people's acting styles are based off of emotion, right? And raw talent and trying to convey immersion through that emotion. But what I is doing for himself, he's acknowledging that he doesn't have that, and he's utilizing and leveraging every skill and every aspect that he can to try to convey that same feeling that somebody with raw talent can have by using all of this back end knowledge and like experience of the scene, right? It's so cool.
He's using he's bringing forth his own talents, his own things that are special to him, and utilizing them, his tools. And we got the shot of the puddle, but really his tools are his very critical and analytical brain. He's just very good at understanding the subtext when he's reading something. And these are skills that he has, that his brain has, of basically unlocking and almost going deeper into source material to kind of understand a person. And he was a doctor. I'm sure he has some amount of knowledge of understanding people and how they might feel inside, depending on physical or emotional pain and suffering.
Yeah.
And so he's using his analysis in order to unlock and get kind of the secrets of what could build the best performance. And he's really good at playing almost like this game of it and getting all these tools together in order to create a good performance. And isn't that just like using his own like talents in order to get a good performance?
You know what? It's interesting because what they're treading on is what I was and is, right? Because all anybody else sees is the finished product, unless you tell them your thought process or your own observations about yourself. So if Aqua is thinking all of this and thinking how different he is, and then performs a certain way based off of all of that internal thinking and decisions that he's making, and presents that to somebody else is therefore under a certain illusion of what you are and what you're capable of. And they might think, oh my God, Aqua, they might not see the nuance in all the decisions that he's making. They might just see, oh, I'm really, you have some special talent from you. And then once they start believing that, they become disillusioned in the same way potentially fans of I were. And
there's a manipulation aspect.
A lie, right?
A lie.
And it's like they don't know what's real. They don't know the truth behind it. And then it reminds me of last episode where Aqua acknowledged how much thought I actually put into certain things, right? And it's like, the further and further we get, it reminds me too of the scene where I was trying to think about the shot that she was in the TV show for the director, and was like, how should I play this? Oh, I should do it like one of my music videos. Like, she had a similar way of preparing herself and thinking to what we're seeing Aqua is doing too.
Like, kind of be the awareness of what's in the room, where is everyone, where's the lighting coming. Obviously, if you're a star, you are always thinking about where the lighting is going to be hitting you, so that you will always have, like, maybe the best angle of your face toward the screen and things like that. And so, yeah, I really like this idea that, like, Aqua's kind of building this illusion that I was just so innately talented that it was just pouring out of her and she didn't even have to try or think or anything. But we know that we've kind of been building this dialogue of context that maybe I was thinking a little bit more than
other people might have thought.
Other people might have thought.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because her personality was almost a little bit ditzy when we first met her. Like, oh, okay, I can't leave the house, you know?
Yeah.
Like, people were a little worried that how could the secret not be spilled?
They underestimated her.
She's just having fun, and she, you know, is maybe a little bit of a ditzy personality. But no, she even had, like, 3 phones.
They have this character worked up based, and what they don't understand is that the character that is built up is all manufactured, and you're supposed to be looking at that character that way. And then they underestimate that character, thinking that that's all that there is to them. That's all the depth there is, but it isn't. Like, I wonder if Aqua's ever going to get to the point that I did, that he's going to seemingly hit like a wall, and his expression isn't enough. And the thing that made her like ghost fans on Twitter happy and recognize like a good like emotion, right, expression, was her genuine expression of seeing her children. So I wonder if, and then you're treading on that line of like less manufactured, right? Yeah. I wonder if it's just gonna mirror it in that way.
But it's also like unfortunate because that kind of line and crossing it is also very dangerous emotionally for the actor themselves, because that emotion that they are then showing isn't the fabricated character that is almost like a safe extension of themselves. It's their actual vulnerable real feelings.
Yep.
And putting that out there for someone who is trying to lie in order to create what everyone wants is going to be a big kind of dilemma and also scary.
You're right. I think my favorite part of the first half of the episode was that there was no specific recognition from anybody towards Aqua's performance, and Aqua, we saw it, brought the best out in every single person in that scene. He whispered like an insult about like no filters, right?
Yeah, so that he would get angry and make the exact expression that the character makes in the manga panel.
And I love the idea that it's not used in such like a short reward sense of, oh yeah, I secretly saw what you were doing there. Like, Kana acknowledged that the acting was different and it was mirroring the manga, but I'm glad that even the mangaka, right? Mm-hmm. The mangaka appreciated the scene and loved what it was and saw Kana's like self-doubt in terms of like how she really cared about this project and wanted it to be the best that it could be, and then applauded Kana's work. I love the idea that Aqua's successfully making productions better and not getting the attention or praise that he might necessarily deserve yet.
Right. I think that also what we could say from this episode is that there's also this idea that Aqua has a pretty great understanding of people. I think he really does understand Kana, like, a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's maybe because he underneath kind of relates to what she's doing here, what she was trying to do all along, and he feels for this plight that she's been under, and I think he genuinely thinks she's talented and cares for her. Mm-hmm. And I think that he knew as he was acting this scene that Kana must have read the source material. She must have cried when the girl in the manga cried.
Yeah.
And I think Aqua like knows that about her, would understand that would be something that she would have done. Mm-hmm. And so we get that kind of shot of her crying as she's reading that last scene in the manga. And Aqua like knows he's setting this up for her. He's creating this tension that he knows the reader feels as they're reading this. And he's setting that up so that Kana can kind of be swayed with it.
Yeah, it's like a softball, right? Like you're like just tossing up the ball,
so that
hit
she
it out of
can
the
hit
park.
it, yeah.
Like, and one of my favorite parts of that whole interaction was that he kind of forgot what Kana's great at. Like, he was like, okay, this is your time to shine. And then, like, he was reminded by her performance, like, oh, yeah, of course, that's what she's best at.
It was almost like she says something about, like, the light.
Yeah.
And we get a shot of him being almost, like, blown back and just, like, light shining on his face. And he's like, you know, watching her cry.
It's
and
so
like,
good.
And then we get the fact that she the maiden in love scene after that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is great.
I'm so glad we got to see the mangaka's like reaction initially to the show and not just on her arrival at the after party. You know, I'm glad that we got to see her in her own environment, appreciate what it was, and then go over what other mangaka have said, right? Other people who've had their adaptions done.
That's
you have
what
to
made
set
it. That was
yourself
the
up.
meta part. That was like her bringing up kind of the other feelings of other people who've gotten their work done, and people that like kind of warned her probably about how this might feel and how bad it could go.
Yeah.
And then also getting like her assistants and their feelings about it. Obviously they were very like angry on behest of her. Like, you put in so many hours and so much love into creating this work, and like obviously they help her, but they were more focused on like her because it's her like baby, it's her creative, it's her heart.
Yep.
And I really liked seeing kind of their defense of her. Like, they were defensive of her, they were protective of her, they were like, I tried to watch it because obviously you worked so hard on it and I was hoping it would be good, but I couldn't continue because it felt so disrespectful.
There's something I love about this show that is like not necessarily a positive feeling within me. And it's because like I assume that that's the intention, but there's just like always, they never forget to show the uncomfortableness of what the reality of the industry is. Like the idea of like people's acknowledgement of Ai and how they talk about her after her death. And like, oh yeah, you're still up in the drama and stuff like
the
that.
Gossip. You were such a fan that you still want to talk gossip.
Yeah. Or even about Kana and the comments that she would get about like being a washed up star. It's like this like gross, like terrible thing that it's, you know, is real.
Yeah,
and in real life,
we've totally
all the time you see it, and you see how it affects people on the daily in real life, and it's just
even on the live action front. I have only seen a few live action adaptions of manga, and I think that's because I've heard from so many people that they are like too scared to watch a live action of one of their favorite manga when it comes out because they're so scared that it's not going to be good or it's not going to like feel like the source material. And so a lot of people that I know avoid it. They're like, no, I'm not going to like ruin this thing that I love by watching the live action. And I've seen My Love Mix-Up live action, which I've also read the manga for, and I liked it. I thought they did a good job. There were a few things that obviously weren't identical to the source material, because if you're trying to squeeze something into 8 episodes, like obviously things are going to be changed.
Yeah.
So all of this felt I could attach to a lot of kind of things that were being talked about in this episode because I have experienced reading and loving a manga and then seeing an adaptation of it. But I do avoid, and because of what other people say. Yeah. They're like, oh, live actions, you always hear that. Live actions are never good. I mean, I always hear that. I don't know if you do, but it makes you worried. Like, oh, well, I was kind of excited to see that. Maybe I'll just watch something else, you know?
Yeah. I mean, Michael Bay has the vision of Avatar: The Last Airbender, or M. Night Shyamalan. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I had something else in my mind. I wanted to take what you were saying and run with it to a degree of, oh my god, this is a perfect chance to watch Death Note's movie on the channel, because we've watched Death Note as the anime on the channel.
Yeah.
We know that there's a live action adaptation of Death Note. We know that it is apparently the best thing that's ever been made. And I think that it would be really interesting. Like,
Yeah,
the
I wanna
show's
watch it.
inspiring me
Uh-huh.
to like.
Take the chance, take the leap, you know, see, because then what we get here is we get the side of the people who worked on it,
Mhm.
who put their hearts into it. And I think sometimes we forget about that. Like you do often hear of some actors kind of going the extra mile of like immersion into a character,
Yeah.
to, you know, method acting, to the point where sometimes you're like, oh, that's ridiculous that they're doing all that, and or like they're gaining tons and tons of weight or losing tons and tons of weight to be unhealthy, or they're doing an accent all the time everywhere they go. And it, I think that this just kind of reminds me like, oh, there are people that are behind it that are putting their whole
They have feelings.
life,
They're people.
they have feelings. And I used to be I'm okay. I used to be acting and singing on stage, and I was a part of some performances that I probably didn't think were like the best thing ever, or that every person on the stage with me was giving it their all. But you know, so I related to Kana a little bit here and then that shot of her standing and all of the lights were on her, like it was a little nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
And I can just really relate to that feeling of being the one that's trying and being on the stage and knowing that there are people watching me and that they might not receive this well, or they might not be able to tell, you know, how much I'm really trying to put into it and how I'm really trying to give them a good show and hoping they enjoy it. And I think sometimes I forget, as now that I'm more in the viewer place, I'm more in the position of the viewer now. I forget sometimes about the feelings and the attention to detail and the care that a lot of people behind the scenes are trying and attempting to put into a work.
Yeah.
And I think I need to sometimes get reminded to appreciate that.
People have feelings, and like there are tons of people behind each production that we're watching, regardless of if it's on the channel or not. Getting back, I want to talk about a couple more things. Reality dating show. Kana's gonna be pissed.
Okay, so this was a thought that I had during it.
Yeah.
Do you think that Frill is gonna be a contestant?
I kind of want it to happen because I could see like I could see Aqua trying to like think about if it'd benefit him to like have the connection with Frill, and then Frill falling in love with him.
Because of her kind of planting in this episode, right after we get told that we're gonna do a dating show, and now this is one of the characters that we're meeting at this performing arts school, and you have to imagine that they're gonna, if this is a director who commonly uses his work to push stars, he's obviously not going to be casting the average young girl on this dating show. He's going to recruit them as young stars.
So we need to try to discover what kind of dating show it is.
Yeah, is it like The Bachelorette? Is
it going to be like many male contestants and then somebody who's really like popular, like, you know, Frill, and like, oh yeah, they all have to try to like woo her, and that's Aqua's like intellectual.
Oh yeah, he's not necessarily the main. I don't know why I was imagining that he was the guy and there'd be a bunch of girls.
There could be.
You're right. It could be like Frill is the main girl and there's a bunch of guys,
and he has to be analytical about how he like woos a person on TV and shows his like acting chops, and then Frill would like actually, or somebody else would actually fall in love with him.
It could be interesting because we often hear about how unfortunately scripted some reality TV shows are, especially like the dating shows. People are always worried about how scripted it might actually be for the drama factor, for the entertainment factor. So that could be interesting that they're showing us like another thing in media that we watch, and that's reality TV, and showing us like the secrets of it.
Yeah.
Where they've kind of now like talked about live action and manga. We've talked about idols. Like that'd be cool to go into the reality TV.
I swear, like at first I was so certain that they were going to have like a Kana jealousy or Kana inserting herself into the dating show, but they've kind of taken her potentially off the table in that regard by introducing her as an idol to Ruby's group.
Possibly not, because if you are trying to push forward your group that you are now starting, your idol group, wouldn't you want one of your members of the group to go on to different, you know, TV shows in order to garner attention. Obviously, Ruby can't go on a dating show that Aqua's on, so send Kana.
Yeah. Maybe.
Or we'll just get the, like, Kana watching in her bedroom, like, clutching a pillow angrily in jealousy.
I'm excited to get more of Ruby. I want more of Ruby.
Well, I think that how Ruby's kind of last scene in this episode played out, and the kind of looking to the side,
Yeah.
almost this embarrassment she's feeling that everyone else is working currently and is recognizable.
Yeah.
That whole frill scene, I think that might lead us into
Me too.
next episodes more focused on Ruby's idol career,
Potentially.
especially with the mention of Kana possibly joining.
Yeah. I'm glad that we actually got to catch up to the scene of them leaving for school and saying goodbye to Ai.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
I didn't think that we would get that, but
Mhm.
it felt so good. I feel like when you get scenes like that, it's almost immediate. Like it would have started the second episode
Yeah.
with that, but it was so like, whoa, like I got taken aback for a second to be given a scene from the first episode and then get the actual timeline and then it inserted.
Yeah.
That felt really nice.
Yeah. I'm liking the show a lot.
Me too.
All right. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.